Hello and welcome to the New England Job Show, a show produced by job seekers for job seekers. Now, some of us in the job search mode are looking to change careers or transition into new careers that better suit the needs of the times. For such people, a career assessment helps you determine your unique abilities and interests that are critical in determining the right job or career. Our studio guest today is very well placed to talk about all aspects of career assessment strategies. Judith Price is an employment and career transition consultant, coach, and personal brand specialist with over 30 years of experience. She's also a certified professional resume writer, career development facilitator, international job and career coach. Judith counsels individuals in career direction and job search strategies from entry to mid-level professionals to senior level management. She consults for various organizations in the greater Boston area and leads workshops and training seminars for other trainers in employment and world of work related topics. Judith's passion, as is obvious, is in helping people discover their talents and translating that into a viable economic proposition. Welcome, Judith. You have so much to share with us. We look forward to talking to you. To begin with, what is career counseling? How do you define it?
Well, career counseling is when the counselor and the client work together to develop a roadmap which will help the client to reach his or her career goals and open up some options where the client can make the very intelligent decision of which career they should choose.
Mm-hmm. Now, is this something that is recommended for everyone, or is it only when you get to a certain stage and you realize that you're in the wrong career or something needs to change that maybe then you go and seek help?
I would love to see high school students to go through this process.
Right.
Because I have so many clients who are 19, 20, 21 years old in college and they don't know what they want to do. Right. They pick the wrong major, they changing majors, they dropping out. They're graduating without any focus, any direction, and they come to me for finding me for referrals, whatever. And they said, you know, Judith, I wish I had this when I was in high school. Yeah. I would have picked the right career major, I would have gone to the right school, I did the right internships, and now I am not getting hired because I don't have the work experience. But if I knew what I wanted to do, I would have built towards that. I would have built a resume. I would have built a internship every year that could fall back on. So yes,
it's so true.
It's really for it's for everyone.
Right. It's so true about students. But do you think the school system might in any way change and gear themselves more towards offering this?
I don't know. It's a pretty expensive proposition. The assessments are not cheap, and the schools don't have the funds. And also, you have to be trained for that.
What does career counseling involve, or career coaching?
Well, career coaching and career counseling is very similar. Coaching is more like you know what you want to do and just help you move you on the path. The career counseling gets more into deeper. What is it with your passion? What is it with your desire? What is your natural? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What your interests? What your personality? What your values? What your temperament? And I do both. I do counseling and I do coaching.
Now, passion is a word we hear a lot. And I think it's very rare that you end up doing something that you're passionate about. But is the whole aspect of passion something that would come out of a test that you would do?
Absolutely. I use several card sorts exercises, which we do in the sessions. And this one particular one measures your passion.
All right.
And it is 58 cards, which you have to look at a glance and have to make 3 piles. One pile sounds very much like you. One pile sounds nothing like you. In the middle is somewhat like you. And then I ask the client to pick 5 cards, which is very close to that person's heart. And then further we eliminate it to only 1 card, and that 1 card is their passion.
Wow.
Now, if your passion and your interest goes together, that gives you your natural.
Right.
And if you work at your natural, you'll be fantastic.
Right.
So that's what they're trying to find out, the person's natural, which is passion and interest.
Can you give us an example of some of these tests that you carried out? A real-life example of someone who perhaps was totally mismatched or you found out that they were matched?
I was working with somebody who worked at Fidelity in financials and went through this assessment, and now she's an occupational therapist.
Okay.
It was just that she knew that wasn't a good fit, but she had to make money, she had to support a family, had children, she was divorced. So Fidelity gave her the income, but then after so many years, she said it was not her passion,
Right.
not her calling.
So, Judy, this brings up the question of maybe people have been stuck in a career or a job, just a job, for many years, and maybe towards midlife or later on in life, they realize this is not what I want to be doing. So very often do you find that your clients or people who need these tests are of an older age group?
Oh,
because
absolutely.
they suddenly say, what am I doing?
Absolutely. I do the assessment age from 17 on till 60. I have a client right now who's 60 who's going through the assessment.
Right.
It's financial services also, and he thinks he wants to teach. He wants to teach. He wants to be a science teacher. I'm meeting with him this afternoon. He wants to teach sciences. He's a vice president in a bank.
Wonderful.
And he really wants to leave it. He just doesn't want to do it anymore.
So it's never too late, in other words?
Never too late.
So could you tell us, I see a lot of papers and cards here, some of the other tests involved in assessing a person.
Well, why don't I go over all the cards and then we can talk about the assessment. Another card set I use is for interest, and that measures your interest. Now, that measures, usually interest goes into we can put into four different categories. Working with people, those are the nurses, teachers, social workers, counselors, psychologists, whatever. Then the data people, those are the accountants, the bookkeepers, the insurance, the financial people. Then the creative sorts, the writers, the poets, the musicians, the designers, the media people, the communication people. Yeah. And then they have the things. It's basically working with their hands. Those are the tangible, the engineers, the technicians, the skilled technicians, the anything in the blue collar area.
So we all fall into one of those categories.
Interest-wise, right?
In terms of
interest-wise, right?
Okay.
Definitely.
Right.
We sometimes we have two interests, you know. So this card measures your interest, and then they give you careers what goes with those interests.
Right.
So matches your interest up for different careers.
But just so that I understand and our viewers understand, the person you're assessing is the person who sorts the cards out according to their...
Exactly.
Right, and then you base your judgment on their selection of the cards.
Well, yes, but you see, I give the cards and I also give them the assessment, because to find the right career, you have to really fit, because we all multifaceted. Just to look at your interest or just your skills is not enough. You have to look at all of those attributes: interest, skills, personalities, values, like I mentioned before.
Right.
So I use several assessments, and each of the assessments throw out 40, 50 careers or jobs, but only 2 or 3 is going to keep popping up.
Right.
It's going to be a theme. We're looking for themes. We're looking for patterns.
Okay. What about the other sets of cards?
This one measures your values, you know, what's really important to you.
Okay.
And again, what's very important, somewhat important, not important. And again, I ask the clients to pick out 8 most important, 8 least important, and we'll match it up. How does it fit in with the job choices?
So 8, did you say 8 values?
8 values,
most and
8 least. And then how does it match up with the job values? And then this one is the skill sets. Now this measures your skills.
Okay.
And I ask them to make two piles. One competent.
Big pile there.
Yeah. One competent, doesn't have to be an expert, just competent. And the other one is minimal or no ability. And then the colors each measures a different skill categories.
Okay.
Like example, the blue is leadership, the gray is mental analytical, the orange is mental creative, etc. So we find out where the person's skill set is.
Right.
And then again, it measures up with careers.
Right. How long would it take you to assess a person or to come out with the results of such a...
Usually 5 or 6 meetings.
5 or 6 meetings with the person. So in that
Sometimes
time...
7. I mean, it really depends on the individual.
And in that time, you also really get to know the person, I
very
bet,
much
in many
so.
other ways.
Very much so.
Right.
I also spend an hour talking to the clients, because I find the assessment only 45 to 50%. I rely on 45 to 50%, other 55% my own 30 years of doing, my 2 master's degrees, my tens of thousands of people working with, you know.
I'm sure you're like a psychic. You can probably sometimes look at people and you would know straight away.
Yes.
So what typically is the background of your clients, or do you really have a range of people coming?
Very wide range. Of course, since I'm in Massachusetts, most of my clients are techies. Technology people, yeah. A lot of engineers, software people.
So do you find, Judy, that technology people, we always sort of bracket them into one category. You know, they're technology, they're geeks, they're, focused. But do you find that sometimes even they feel they're in the wrong job and they'd rather be doing something else?
Oh my God, absolutely. I had a client who was a software engineer. It's a woman. And I think I worked with her about 7 or 8 years ago. And she came to me and said, I really can't do it anymore. I just have to get out.
Right.
So make a long story short, she kept keeping me abreast what she's doing. She's an interior designer now. She went back to school. She got her certification. She got her clients. And she is doing fantastic, and she's loving it. Oh, yeah.
Now, in today's economic situation with unemployment,
Absolutely.
what advice do you have for those of us on how to handle this break and how to make use of it in terms of really assessing where you want to be?
That's a fantastic question, because it is so important that the next time you are working, you do something what you love.
Absolutely.
Because many times people got laid off from a job they didn't like.
Yep.
And they said, this is wonderful. Now I can do what I want to do.
Right.
So I would recommend to go through some assessment. Now, I also use 7 or 8 different kind of paper pencil exercises. Now, I don't tell that everybody has to go through the cards and the assessment. Sometimes people are very test adverse. So I use, just talking to them, and I do other kind of techniques and strategies. I have up on my sleeves a lot of different techniques we can use, so it doesn't have to go. But yes, the people who lost their jobs for whatever reason, go through the assessment, figure out what their strengths are, what their interests are, what their natural is, what's their passion, and try to melt it and build a career around that. Because then they're really going to be, because there's no such thing as job security, but there is such a thing as career security.
Right. Or job satisfaction, at least, if not,
exactly. And be happy what you're doing, and you find security in your skill sets,
right,
and what value you're going to give to your work.
Right. And do you think, from your experience, that people would be willing to take a lesser paying job if at least their passion was there?
There's a saying, if you love what you do, you never have to work a day in your life, and money will follow. And that's really true.
Right.
Because if you love what you do, you're going to be very good at it. And if you're going to be very good at it, people's going to notice it, and you're going to get a job, and you're going to get clients.
Now, what about people who want to change career or start a new career, even if it's late in life, but might need a little bit of training or skills? Are you able to then advise them on how to go about getting to that next step?
Absolutely. We do the whole gamut, the whole 9 yards. It's a 4-step process, basically. Who am I? What am I all about? What are my qualifications, my attributes, my characteristics, which we get through the assessment. And then who are there who can use those kind of characteristics, what industry, what kind of job. And then we'll make a decision together. It's a very collaborative effort. I'm not going to shove anybody's throat on to be the interior designer or a science teacher. We work together. We're figuring out what it is. We'll make a decision together and then develop the plan.
Anything else they should be thinking about in terms of making that big step of changing careers?
Well, try to do an assessment. Try to figure out what you love, what you're interested in, what your passion is. What is it what you really excite you getting up in the morning? What is it what you would do even if you didn't get paid?
Right.
This is such a great thing, because you guys all doing this without pay, but you're passionate about.
So a lot of us have found that volunteer work is a good way to sort of put yourself out there, and you never know what will come out of it. That could be the turning point.
Volunteer work is wonderful. Part-time work, doing some job shadowing and watching other people what they do. Doing even have some bridge jobs, doing just to hold you over while you're figuring out what you want to do. All those are taking a course, taking a class.
Well, it sounds fascinating, and I'm so glad you brought along the cards and some of the paraphernalia that goes with it. Like I said, it sounds like an art and a science. Thanks for all your good work, Judith, and I hope people out there are watching, or rather reading, your blog items that you contribute to www.nejs.org. And thank you for sharing your advice. I'm sure we'll be coming back to you for more advice in the future.
Okay.
Thank you again, Judith.
You're very welcome.